I knew something was wrong before I even stepped inside the gate. The invitation had sounded casual, a small family surprise day. My aunt had said, "Everyone will be there." I expected maybe 20 people. There were closer to 50. Plastic chairs filled the backyard. Relatives stood in small circles holding paper plates. A few neighbors I barely recognized leaned against the fence, talking like they had come to watch something interesting. At the center stood my father, beside a borrowed podium. In his hand was a gray folder. That folder told me everything. My father loved lists. Our childhood had been organized around them. Lists of expectations, lists of comparisons, lists of what we could have done better. My sister usually appeared at the top of those lists. I usually appeared somewhere near the bottom. Someone tapped a glass. Conversations faded. My father stepped forward with the calm confidence he used at work meetings. "Today," he said, "is about recognizing achievement in our family." People clapped politely. He opened the folder. At first, the speech was predictable. He began reading my sister's accomplishments, her university scholarships, her promotion last year, the volunteer program she started at her office. Each item was delivered with pride, and each one drew applause. My sister smiled, though the smile looked uncertain. Even she seemed surprised by how formal the moment had become. Then my father paused. "And sometimes," he continued, turning the page, "recognizing success also means learning from the paths we didn't take." The shift was subtle, but the air changed immediately. He didn't say my name. "My other child," he said, "has had many opportunities." The list began. Not dramatic failures. Just every decision I had made that didn't match his expectations. The degree I changed halfway through university. The corporate job I left after a year. The small business I started instead of pursuing something more stable. Each point sounded harmless alone, but read aloud like a report card in front of 50 people, the meaning was obvious. "A lot of potential," he said at one point. "But direction matters." Someone laughed quietly. I sat there without moving. Years earlier, I might have argued. I might have tried to defend every decision. I could already imagine the speech I once would have given about independence and different definitions of success. But sitting there, I realized something. If I argued, the performance would continue. This gathering had been built for that moment. While he spoke, another memory moved through my mind, a phone call from 2 weeks earlier. A conversation where my father had spoken freely, assuming no one else would ever hear it. Halfway through that call, something about his tone had made me press record. Eventually, he finished reading. He closed the folder slowly and looked at me, as if waiting for a reaction. Maybe embarrassment, maybe agreement. The backyard stayed quiet. I stood up. 50 people turned their attention toward me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I simply said one sentence. "If this is supposed to be a lesson, everyone should probably hear the plan first." I placed my phone on the table and pressed play. At first there was only a moment of static. Then my father's voice, clear and relaxed. "Sometimes people only change when they feel pressure," the recording said. "If everyone hears the comparison, maybe it will motivate him. A little embarrassment can be useful." A chair shifted somewhere behind me. The recording continued. I'll frame it as concern. It has to sound supportive, but the point is to make the difference obvious. No one spoke. I watched the room instead of my father. My sister understood first. Her face tightened as the words reached the part where he described how praising her achievements would make the contrast stronger. My mother stared at the ground. One uncle who had laughed earlier leaned back slowly, like he suddenly wanted distance from the entire moment. When the recording ended, the silence felt heavier than the speech had. My father stepped forward quickly. This is taken out of context, he said, but the room had already shifted. People were no longer looking at me. They were looking at him. My sister spoke quietly. You planned this. He tried to explain, something about motivation, something about family expectations. But explanations sound different when the preparation is already public. My aunt began quietly stacking plates. One neighbor slipped out through the gate. My sister walked past my father without looking at him. Within minutes the gathering started dissolving. No announcements, no dramatic exit, just people realizing they had stayed long enough. Later that night my sister sent a short message. I'm sorry. My mother didn't call. My father tried twice. I didn't answer. 5 relationships changed in that backyard. Some ended that day. Others faded quietly afterward. I didn't feel victorious. Just finished.